Thank you very much. Well, Washington still in a state of gridlock as we get closer and closer to the debt ceiling deadline. Meanwhile, President Obama warns that the U.S. could slip into another recession if we don't raise the debt limit. But a new report claims a growing number of Republicans are questioning whether a default would be all that bad. So much to talk about, so little time. Joining me now, Republican Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn. Representative, thank you so much for joining us. I know that the House just passed a bill that would essentially fund the FAA, so we're kind of doing this piecemeal, and we did get a message from the White House saying that the president would veto that House bill because he doesn't want to do this piecemeal. What's your reaction to that?
Well, to the president, I would say, Mr. President, every year we go through the appropriations process. We started in June. We do our budget in March and April. We start appropriations in June, and we do them one department of the federal government at a time. This is standard operating procedure. Since they have not taken up our appropriations bills that we have passed, we're taking them to the floor one at a time, which, you know, Ashley, that is what the American people have repeatedly said. Do things one at a time, get it out there, let us look at it, and see what we think about this. So basically, we are operating in the way they would like to see. We've now passed 14 bills that would accommodate funding the federal government. We've had a couple hundred Democrats vote with us on these different measures, and the president continues to say, I'm going to veto this, I'm going to veto that. He wants his way or the highway, no negotiation, and we're saying, Mr. President, please work with us. Harry Reid, come to the table, work with us on this, and we need to have that discussion about what we are funding and how we spend the taxpayers' money. It's out of respect to the American taxpayer.
But at the same time, we have a government shutdown and the very real threat that the country could default. So is this the time and place to do this, Congressman Blackburn? Because,
absolutely.
You know, listen,
yeah.
Look, you could pass a clean CR, you could temporarily raise the debt ceiling limit, and then buy yourself time to deal with some very big issues.
Yeah, a couple of things there. First of all, 83% of the federal government is open and operating. 17% is in shutdown. Second thing, when they say a clean CR, what they are saying is, we don't want any strings attached. No obligation on this loan. Give us the money. Don't expect accountability. We're saying we want an accountable CR. And then the third thing is, what we know is that if we were to move to a point where the debt ceiling could not be raised, that you can move forward, pay the interest first, that has to be done, then prioritize spending. We're very concerned about getting to that debt ceiling point because we do have so many small businesses, 3.5 million actually, that contract and do business with the federal government. And we think it is imperative that we have a thoughtful process to work through this. But now is the time to be talking about this spending. We cannot continue to borrow $2 to $3 billion a day in order to keep the lights on in the federal government. We know that there is a lot of waste, fraud, abuse, and misuse of taxpayer funds in the bureaucracy. I mean, my goodness, prime example, the EPA said 93% of their employees were non-essential. So there are components there, Ashley, that we are conducting our due diligence on. We're looking at programs that can be put into wind down. We are taking items that have to be funded to the floor. We are asking Harry Reid to please take these bills up one at a time, pass them through the Senate, join us in this effort, make certain that we complete reopening all of the federal government, and then focus on how we deal with the long-term systemic problems of the nation's overspending and the nation's debt.
Right. Very quickly, Congresswoman, lastly, we hear that the president will be meeting with House Republicans tomorrow. We don't know who. Do you know if you're going to be a part of that group?
We have absolutely no idea. We heard there was a rumor that at this late date, he would have House Republicans down. We would be delighted to know that he is willing to begin a conversation and to work. I think it is long overdue. When he skipped and the Senate skipped to deadlines on budgets years ago, this should have been a topic of conversation. We are spending more money than we are taking in. We do not have a revenue problem. We have a spending and priority problem. And through this issue of the continuing resolution, the debt ceiling, the lack of a budget signed into law for the past 5 years, the American people have focused like a laser on this, and they are saying, you need to rein in some of these agencies, some of these programs. You need to get rid of the snoopiness that is taking place in the federal government with the IRS and the NSA and other agencies, and you need to make certain that you return responsibility and control to the American people. Get it out of Washington, D.C.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck in the continuing negotiations, and we'll wait and see if you're going to meet with the president tomorrow. Congresswoman Blackburn,
Absolutely.
thank you as always.
Thank you.